Voiko tasapaino elämään löytyä lisäämällä asioita? Joskus kun lisätään ulottuvuutta, väriä ja kontrastia, voikin paremmin. Katsotaan hyvinvointia ihan uudesta perspektiivistä. Lontoon taika on siinä, että sieltä löytyy kiehtovia ja luovia ihmisiä. Yksi heistä on Carina, nainen, joka edustaa luovuutta, rakastaa erilaisuutta ja osaa lisätä kontrastien tuomaa voimaa. Hän sanoi, että ei voisi koskaan tehdä vain samaa. Elämän tarvitsee kehittyä. Miksi Carina käy vuosikymmenten ajan kuitenkin Marian tunneilla? Miten metodi voi olla aina uutta ja kiehtovaa? Today we are talking about how to add balance to life without losing new contrast and dimensions. There are people who create magic around them. Carina Dingemans is one of them. Carina says about creativity and well-being. I could never do the same thing. My life needs to be evolving. I'm an art lover who gives opportunities to add dimensions to people's lives in a way that I believe will make life more complete. Let's hear more. Welcome to the Christmas Show.
Summers come and summers go. This one's very special though. Let go of what you think you know, and you can put a kiss upon a toe.
Maria on laittanut oikein kynttilän palamaan meidän joulusoun kunniaksi.
Ajattelin, että se on taas joulumuistot. Se siis herranjestä, tässä on mennyt vuosi, kun me ollaan melkein tehty tätä. Ja tämä on meidän viimeinen tänä vuonna, eikö vaan? This is our last show this year. And we've done this about a year, and now finally we're getting to London and look at the wonderful environment here. How are you, Lisa?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Very good, very good.
Hei Maria,
Right.
Carina puhui aikaisemmin tuossa jo, että hän tuntee, jos hän näkee niin kuin vaikka valkoisen seinän, niin se on hänelle kuin sellainen puuttuvaa hammasta särkisi. Mitä sä ajattelet?
Yeah, we have a wonderful guest, Carina Dingemans, today. Carina is my long-term client, but also a very dear friend. And in fact, Carina has really stretched my thinking, my life, my colors on my walls, and the art in my home, and made me think differently. Eli Carina on ollut mun pitkäaikana 20 vuotta mun asiakkaana. Hän on venyttänyt mun ajatusta niin tasapainosta kuin hyvinvoinnista. Carinan vaikutus näkyy mun takana olla seinän värissä, se näkyy mun kotini seinillä. Ja on laittanut mut miettimään ja venyttämään sitä, että mistä se oikeastaan syntyy. Ja your question, darling, what was it? I'm talking
Oli
already.
se, kun Carina sanoi, että hänelle on kuin niinku puuttuvaa hammasta särkisi.
Oh, the toothache business. Yes, that was a really descriptive thing about. Carina, you might be there because I think you need to talk about this toothache business because. Hello, darling. How are you?
Hello, and happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas and welcome to a show. You know, because you described me, which I think was really good. You said that if you go to the home that there is no paintings in the wall, it gets you upset. Tell me more about that. You said it's like a missing tooth. It was really, I felt it. Yeah.
I think it's because you don't get. I find that the art on your walls and the things that you engage with tell you so much about a person. And so when I go to somebody's house and there's nothing on the walls, I think, describe yourself to me. You know, express yourself. Why isn't there something behind you? What's holding you back? And that, I mean, it's a bit ridiculous to call it a toothache, but.
I think it was really nice because I
like
remember you come to the studio, you said, that's in the wrong place. It was my little birds And the one bird was in a little. So that's called aesthetic, wonderful eye, and it's, so thank you for all that advice. But I think what we were talking about is normally what we try to find the balance. You said, do we have too much in our lives? And we talked about it in many different ways. Do we have too much in our lives in terms of learning new things, or there's always advice to say, calm down, do less. And you throw this thinking around. I say this in Finnish as well. Eli Carina niin kuin käänsi mun ajatusta siitä, että onko se aina sitä, että tee vähemmän, poista elämästä, ole rauhassa, ja mistä se muodostuu se hyvinvointi. So what was your, how do you see this, we have too much mantra?
We all do have too much, especially as the older we get, the more we accumulate, whether it's inheriting things from family or things that we bought over the years. So it's not like we need more, but we need to curate what we've got, and we need to identify what's important to us and use it. I mean, of course, there's always room for buying more. I hope people still want to buy art and things, but I think we need to be judicious about what we want around us and how that makes us feel. And we can change. I mean, I'm a great believer in changing things around in the house, moving that picture that was forever over the fireplace and move it somewhere else and put something else in its place, and it changes the whole feel of the room and the whole energy. And I think it's really when customers come into the shop and they're a bit worried about where they place something, I say, well, it's just a nail you put in a wall, and you can change. In fact, you should change it. And just because it works brilliantly now there, move it around. In the summer, the light falls differently. You might want it in a different place. You shouldn't be afraid of changing and moving things if they don't feel right, or you just have got a bit bored of them.
So you use often the word involving, and I should just say it in Finnish. I don't translate actually exactly. I will just do my own interpretation of what you just said. Eli siis Carina niin kuin sanoo sitä, mitä Liisa, että se, että siellä seinällä on jotain, niin silloin ihmiset saa sinusta kiinni. So people can get hold of you somehow, and it se niin kuin aloittaa sen keskustelun. It starts the conversation in a way, the dialogue. Ja sanon sitä, että ei kannata niin kuin pelätä muutosta, että you encourage change, mutta meillä on kaikilla niin paljon, että jos se muuttaa toiseen järjestykseen, se näkee eri tavalla. But another thing, what I think, if I may add on this one, is that you bring in color. So you have the same thing, in my background, you add color. And suddenly it brings something out in a different way. But your color choices are rather brave. And that's what you want to encourage, is to be brave. Eli Carinan niin kun kontrastit on aika vahvoja, että ja rohkeita, niin kuin me kohta nähdään. And that has added confidence. Se on niin kuin tuonut itsevarmuutta. So what do you think about that? Do you feel your clients have suddenly become more confident?
Oh, yes.
Because you advise them. Yeah.
Yes. And in fact, we have the same similar blue to the one you have behind you in our shop, and we have a bright orange, and people come in and they like, oh, I'm going to try that at home. And around here, the houses, well, there are some very big houses, but there are some quite small terraced houses, and people are a bit worried about using colour because they think it's going to make everything feel smaller and darker. But in fact, they discover that often, if you get it right, it expands everything, because it gives you a sort of limitless view. You walk into a room with dark walls and it doesn't feel enclosing. It feels like the walls have deepened out, if anything. And then, of course,
My
art always
goodness.
looks fantastic against dark walls, I think.
Oh
Like
my God.
top,
So there
your
we go,
orange
Lisa.
top. It pops against that dark wall, you know. It's great to contrast it.
Wow. Well, I think the best way to really see this, would you mind? I mean, we talked about this contrast about in everything in life, and also when we didn't realize that over the decades we worked together, which is almost like 2 decades. It's quite a long time, and I never saw your home, except after sort of first 10 years. And then only now we're realizing that there is an underneath level that you describe in my classes as well, which is kind of more than the exercises. And that's a difficult one to explain why. And I'm very, very careful. And it's, which, as you said, expands something. We didn't know that is the one reason that home held us together properly.
Yeah.
In many ways. And I think, now when we, do you mind if we visit your shop? We go there.
I would think well.
Yes. Why do we have a little journey so it makes sense a bit more?
Welcome to Hales. This is our lovely wee shop. This is the front room of the shop. We're getting all set up for Christmas, as you can see. We like lots of art and sparkle and lots of little things. Gifts. This is a very famous English landscape artist who we sell called Ian Houston. And we go through. Here are some more things. Our angel wings, of course, for Christmas. Lots more lights. Husband, less decorative. And
I'm not that decorative.
I said less decorative. This is the sort of middle room. And then at the back here, we're setting up more things. Because in the evenings we run wreath making workshops. So we try and bring a little bit of sparkle this time of year when it's all dark and cold outside. So welcome.
Wow. A less decorative husband. Well, thanks to your decorative husband, he came here today, and now I can reveal to our audience that the background will change here probably, and my pillar will turn to be orange. So what do you think, Lisa? Sanotko Liisa, mitä sinulla tulee mieleen?
No, siellä oli ihanasti kaikkea. Toivottavasti pian päästään matkustamaan. Paitsi, että sanoit, Maria, että Karinalla on myös verkkokauppa.
Yes. So we all come shopping, but I come there this evening. But let's go back to this the relationship with the art and people. And you often talk about not only contrast but also imperfection. Some of the mistakes, how important they are. Eli Carina puhuu usein siitä, että kun ei ole täydellistä, niin se tekee ihmisille hyvää. Ja nimenomaan se, että siellä on virheitä. And we compare the IKEA, because we all love IKEA and we need IKEA. And you mentioned something, your work, because IKEA, I think, is a kind of sign of the time. It's practical, it's Scandinavian, it's very simple. And of course, as a Finns, we are very jealous because we feel that only Swedish can do so clever concept, and our design is there. And we feel like, should have been us. Don't you think? Meanwhile in Sweden, but it is a fantastic concept. But there is no way we don't compare the IKEA time. I think we are almost like an IKEA era. So what would you say it describes, and where do you belong, your thinking on this era?
I was being dragged around IKEA last night, actually, and so I have a very clear picture in my mind of IKEA, and they're incredibly clever, and their sets are just so beautifully designed and attractive. But there's two things I would say. One is it encourages impermanence, whereas in a shop like this, we sell a lot of old things, and we encourage people to enjoy the imperfections that come with age. So enjoy the patina that builds up on an object, and the craftsmanship and the hand of the maker that has gone into it. IKEA is brilliant at the sort of surface look. Everything is wonderful and clean and well defined. But for me, I miss that kind of imperfection that you were talking about. And so I feel that even if you do have IKEA, and we all do, it's important to have your own mark on it. You know, it's important to not be afraid to change things up. Just because the table started white doesn't have to stay white. Do something else with it. You know, make it your own. Put your own brand on it, and love it, because it is an expression of yourself. So.
Oh, that's so lovely to say. When you put your mark in it, it means you also love it. Eli Carina sanoisi, että kun siihen laittaa oman merkin, niin silloin se tarkoittaa, että siihen tulee rakkautta enemmän. Oh, that's really sweet thing to say. Carina, you have a painting behind you. We are curious with Lisa. What is it? And that's maybe do you mind?
No, I could have chosen a few things, but this one just sort of came to my hand because it's nothing special in a way. It's not signed. Don't know anything about the artist. It's been a bit knocked around in its time. So perhaps an example of imperfection, but there's still something very charming about it. And the colours are great, of course, the sort of pops of colour in their clothes. But there's a whole story behind here. There's a feeling that you get from it that I think is lovely. And this is the sort of art that I'm attracted to because it says something a little bit perhaps about the human condition, or makes you think, as well as being something interesting to look at. So I also like a lot of abstract art, but something like that, you know, it's not valuable particularly, but it's got a history and a story behind it. And actually I
basically
love the story.
So that's about the fascination is about that we begin to build the story. You know, because I said, they are lovers. You said, no, not necessarily. And we begin to see that I see a different. You said she looks a bit sad. And then I said, oh, what a bright colors. But you also have a lovely bird behind you. So would you mind pointing out?
This is made by a local artist, and he gets old water tanks. So in the UK, we used to have big hot water tanks in the attics of our houses that stored all the hot water. We don't need them anymore with modern boilers, so they've all been ripped out. And so he goes around and collects them all. They're made of zinc, but because they've had hot water in them for decades, they've corroded. So the zinc is all sort of rusty on the inside, so it's all got a patina and an age to it. And he carves birds. This is a curlew, and we have wings for Christmas, angel wings and stars and things. And I just really like them because they're all hand done. Each one is different because each one has a different variety of rust and pattern and colour on it. And obviously environmentally wonderful because you're using a product that otherwise would have gone into to be thrown away.
And what you realize, it doesn't have to cost very much to actually bring art into your life, and you are very playful with. And but I'm thinking that your life is very involving because your shop is changing every week and all the time. You're finding new things, and so how do you calm down? don't tell you come to my class because we don't calm down here, or do we? Yes, we do.
We do. We
Well,
do. We do. We do. I think it's just finding stillness, actually, isn't it? Just having a moment just to sit down. I remember I love my garden as well, and gardeners always say, you know, you spend your entire summer when it's looking so beautiful just rushing around doing things, but you must find a time to sit down and just admire what you see around you. And I think that's important, especially at Christmas when none of us have any time and we're too busy dashing off to different things. It's important still to find a moment to light a candle, to pour a glass of wine, to sit down and just be happy with your surroundings.
Yes, having a little moment of the surroundings. So, and also we talked about a lot about seasons. You know, like in our classes, we involve it very much with the seasons as well. So, Lisa, you were saying that we should have had the Christmas hats, but we couldn't find it. But we decided to be very creative and involve whatever we find. So I only found, again, a hat. What a surprise for our audience. Mikä yllätys, kun siis sanottu sitä, että kun Liisa sanoi, että kun on pikkujoulu, niin pitäisi olla jotain pikkujoulumaista. And you found a little Christmas whatever.
I
me ei löydetty
mitään.
mitään.
Decoration.
Niin, voi tehdä. That's really nice. And I put my hat on because you always say, että me ollaan tää hiippakunta. Niin, eikö tää ihan hyvä? Tää on ihan vitsi jo. This is an old joke. We need to have something funny. But really, it is about Christmas very soon. And Christmas is about bringing people together. And we know that some people can't come together because of COVID, which took a lot of our lives. And valitettavasti nyt kun on joulu, niin yleensä tuo ihmiset yhteen. Nyt ei välttämättä tuo, koska on COVIDia ja on tämmöistä. Mutta what you said very beautifully, Lisa, that if so, why don't we involve? Et miksei me tehdä jotain uutta? So we could learn from Carina and we can place our orange. And the decorative husbands also, don't you think? So happy Christmas for everybody. And Lisa, for you, thank you for all this time. Kiitos Lisa ihan upeasta emännöistä. Sä oot koko vuoden, me ollaan oltu täällä ja sä oot tullut ihania vieraita tänne minun luo. Kiitos meidän kuulijoille kaikista hetkistä ja toivottavasti tästä on iloa sinullekin tästä, mitä olen oppinut Lontoossa, että ei elämän tarvitse olla täydellistä, voi olla rikasta. And Carina, thank you for being in my life and bringing so many colorful things and thoughts to my life and to the studio, and your fingerprints will be seen. And then it goes online and goes to our audience and also to Finland if that's going to be orange or whatever. So it's all exciting for the new year. Eli tämmöisillä uutisilla, että hyvinvointi voi olla tosi laaja-alasta. Ja sehän on nimenomaan sitä, että jaetaan, eikö sokki, Liisa? It's exactly that we share.
Kyllä. Ja nyt Karinasta inspiroituneena me kaikki lähdetään nyt dekoreeraamaan seinämme ennen joulua uuteen uskoon, eikö vaan? Me palataan vielä tämän vuoden puolella 16.12. pikkujoulujen merkeissä ja sitten ensi vuonna ollaan 6.1. Se on loppiainen vielä kauden avajaisissa.
So 16th to 12th, we're going to see, we're going to have a Christmas extravaganza in English time at 4 o'clock, in Finnish time at 6 o'clock. So we will see there and we will see Carina there too. And then we see the 6th of January, which is opening for the new season. But otherwise, thank you for everybody for this year. Kiitos kaikille tästä vuodesta. Ihan loistava. Lämmintä joulua. Warm Christmas. Happy Christmas.
Lämmintä joulua.
Happy Christmas.
Yes. And for Michael somewhere, who is, I think, very decorative husband.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Summers come and summers go. This one's very special though. Let go of what you think you know.